So hi friends, so I'm back with another video. This time it's comparatively a most important video because so many students have been waiting for this particular video. They have asked me. Okay, so this video is on Kaizen costing, as you would have known by now. So it is Kaizen costing concepts. Kaizen costing concepts. So it's a pretty new topic when it comes to advanced management accounting, whereas now the name has been changed. It is strategic cost management and performance evaluation. Now let's talk about for whom this video will be useful. It's gonna be useful for CA final students, especially new syllabus and even old syllabus as well, because even in old syllabus this topic exists, and it's gonna be useful for students pursuing ACCA UK, students pursuing SEMA UK, right? And students pursuing CWA, which is now CMA India, and CMA USA. And last but not least, all other commerce graduates. Commerce graduates. Okay. All you people can benefit from this particular video. Okay. And I hope you guys will be enjoying this. I'm going to cover this concept left, right, front, and back. So each and every facet of it will be covered. So why to waste any further time? Let's get inside. So right guys, first let's try to understand what is this Kaizen costing. Okay, first let's start with the name. Now let's try to understand what is this name Kaizen means. Okay, for that I want you guys to look into this particular slide. Have a look into this. See this slide guys. So as you can see, so Kai means change, Zen means good or better. So that is how the name has got come, and we can call Kaizen as continuous improvement. Right? To put it simple, that's what this topic means. Kaizen costing, continuous improvement. Everyone, every day, everywhere. Okay. So now let's get back to our, yeah. So now you know that Kai means what is Kai and what is Zen. As you can see, to put it simple, Kaizen costing is nothing but continuous improvement. And that is by everyone, every day, everywhere. That's the important point that you have to understand. Okay. So, what is this Kaizen costing all about? So, please listen carefully now. You know that Kaizen costing means it is continuous improvement. Now, first of all, what do you mean by continuous improvement? So, what is continuous improvement? It means it's like, what can I say? Continuous examination and improvement of an existing process. So, you keep on examining things, you examine every time, and then you try to what? Improve. Right? I hope you understand what do you mean by examining things and then improving them, right? And this Kaizen costing is a very different thing from all the other approaches that you would have come so far. For example, some of you might know there is something called BPR. BPR means business process reengineering. Now, please understand Kaizen costing is a lot different from business process reengineering. I've already covered a video on this. If you don't know what is business process reengineering, please see that video. There's a case study which I covered based on application of business process reengineering. In that case study, I covered the concept of BPR as well. Okay, so if at all you're not aware of business process reengineering concept, you can very well watch that particular case study that is there in my channel. Okay, now those who already know what is BPR, business process reengineering means it is a sudden radical one-off change to improve an organization's operations as well as what processes. So it's a radical change. Whereas here, when it comes to Kaizen costing, we are not talking about radical change as such. We are just talking about small changes, minor changes. Are you able to get me? So I'm talking about small, small changes, or we can also call it as minor changes. However small it's gonna be, it doesn't matter. But I want to improve step by step, bit by bit. Are you able to get me? Even if there is 0.001% increase in efficiency or 0.001% decrease in wastage, I'm very happy with that. And that would come under Kaizen costing. So it's small change, minor changes, bit by bit changes, and that keeps on happening again and again continuously for over a period of time, which will result in huge savings. And that we'll try to understand, but that's how the concept works. Okay. So this particular philosophy of Kaizen costing, it actually means that small incremental changes routinely applied and over a long period, which will result in significant improvements, right? And this particular strategy, it targets, I mean, its actual aim is to involve workers from multiple functions and multiple levels in an organization. They have to work together to address a problem, and they need to try to solve that particular problem as well as improve a particular process, whatever it is. So ultimately, it talks about working together, right? And getting improvements, minor or small improvements. So ultimately, what does Kaizen succeed in achieving? So you can understand that with the help of applying these principles of Kaizen costing, you can eliminate waste. That is one particular point that you need to understand. Waste elimination will happen. So you can eliminate waste for sure. So, and if at all there is any unnecessary steps, I'll give you an example at the last so that you can understand. And that unnecessary steps also will be eliminated because of Kaizen costing. So waste gets eliminated, unnecessary steps gets eliminated. So ultimately all these things will lead to what? More efficiency. And more efficiency will lead to what? More cost savings. When I say more cost savings, ultimately it leads to what? More profit. Obviously, that's what any organization want, isn't it? Right? Chalo. Now, so what you need to understand is this Kaizen costing is actually designed to repeat a particular process again and again. What is the particular process here? Improving, marginal improvements, minor improvements. Okay. So ultimately, what happens because of this is cost reduction will happen. Because you can ask me one thing, why people are really talking about cost reduction? Why? Because see, the logic is very simple. You know that most of the markets now it has become highly competitive. So what happens is competitive pressure. I use the word called competitive pressure. So this competitive pressure are likely to force down the price of a product over time, isn't it? And any possible cost savings will allow a company to still attain its targeted profit margin while continuing to reduce the cost. That's really great advantage, isn't it? That's why nowadays people are really giving much importance to this particular concept called Kaizen costing. And of course, you know the name change better or good change. That's what Kaizen means. Anyway, right now let's run through certain slides and let's try to understand this concept better. Okay, now let's look into this slide, Nana. Have a look into this slide. So Kaizen costing is a cost reduction system. uh, a particular guy called Eshihiro has defined this Kaizen costing as the maintenance of present cost levels for products currently being manufactured via systematic efforts to achieve the desired cost level. You need not by heart this particular definition, but anyway, whatever the things that we have understood so far, even that you can write it as what? An answer. As you can see, the word Kaizen in Japanese meaning continuous improvement. Okay, chalo. Now let's go to another slide. As you can see here, Kaizen means making improvements to process by incremental amounts, and you have to focus on elimination of waste of materials and in process as well. It is pretty much similar to target costing, but it is applied during the manufacturing part of the product cycle, unlike target costing, which will be applied at the beginning of the product cycle. And cost reductions through improvements to efficiency of production process and incremental improvements based on target cost reductions. Now you can understand what is the link between target costing and this particular thing. Okay, I'll try to get to that. Now let's try to understand. Okay, now see here, guys. Now you'll be wondering what is the link between target costing as well as Kaizen costing. As you can see in the slides that I've run you through so far, there has been a very good linkage between target costing and Kaizen costing. Let's try to understand that. See, what I mean by target costing, I'll try to make it simple. So I'll not be going depth because this video is about Kaizen costing. So just for your information, I'll just try to touch upon target costing a little bit and then I'll come back. Okay. So what is target costing? Very simple. I'm running a business. Let's say I'm selling a soap. Okay. Let's say I'm having monopoly right now. And I hope you know what is monopoly. I'm selling the soap at 100 rupees. So selling price is how much? 100. Now all of a sudden I get a competitor and this guy tries to sell the same soap, same quality, okay, same utility, similar quality, similar utility at 80. Now what he can do ultimately? Either you reduce your selling price from 100 to 80 in order to survive in the market. I mean to say, in order to maintain your existing share in the market, or slowly your share will get reduced and slowly you'll be thrown out of the market. Now, many of you might think that, sir, let's say cost of manufacturing this particular soap is 70. Okay, anyway, you have a profit margin of 30 rupees, right? So why don't you reduce your selling price from 100 to 80 straight away? And earlier you were getting 30 rupees profit. Now you'll be getting 10 rupees profit. Is it? Can you do something like that? No. No, no. No businessman, no company would like to compromise on their profits. That will never happen. So which means here, let's say the profit margin right now is 30. So 30 on cost, 30 divided by 70 comes around a particular percentage. They would like to maintain the same percentage. They will never ever compromise on their profits. So in that case, what will be their target? Their target they would like to reduce this cost such that they'll be earning the same amount of profit now as well as after. Now the biggest question is, how does it work? Now let's try to understand. Right now, what is the profit? 30 rupees. How did you get this 30? 100 rupees is selling price minus 70 rupees is the cost. Now let's find out profit percentage on cost. What is the cost? 70 into 100. So let's try to find profit percentage. So 30 divided by 70 into 100. It comes around 42.85%. They will never compromise on this profit percentage. Are you able to get me? Right? So now what they will do is that they will try to find target cost. Now, what do you mean by this target cost? Let's take target selling price. What is your target selling price right now? 80. Because now so far you have been selling at 100 rupees. Now you can't sell at 100 rupees anymore further. So you have to reduce it from 100 to 80. So now your new target selling price will be how much? 80 minus your target profit. So will give you target cost. This is total cost. Okay. This is target cost. There's a difference. This is total cost and this is target cost. Please try to understand. Okay. Anyway, so this is total cost. This is target cost. Right. Now, so new targeted selling price or new selling price minus target profit will give you target cost, or what are the profit that you're willing to earn. Here you can see that I'm willing to earn 42.85 percentage on cost. Okay, this is on cost, and here we are trying to find out cost. I hope how this you know how this particular calculation works. I don't want to get into this, but right now you need to understand this particular percentages will be reduced. Okay, and finally you'll be getting your target cost. Are you able to get me? Now the logic is very simple. You don't know what is your cost, but let's say your selling price percentage is 100 and your cost percentage on let's say your cost is total cost is 42.8, I mean 100, then your profit margin is 42.85 on cost. So your selling price percentage will be 142.85. So let's say this new target selling price is 142.85. Then your target profit will be 42.85 and your target cost in percentage terms I'm talking will be 100. So if 142.85% is 80 and 42.85% is how much, then you'll be getting 100% as how much. Like that you can find out the cost. Are you able to get me? So I'll try to repeat this one more time. See here. What we have actually done is that initially this guy was selling his product at 100 rupees. Later he came to know that his competitor is selling the same product at 80 rupees, and therefore he is forced to reduce his selling price to 80. And let's say his initial total cost is 70. Now he has to reduce his selling price from 100 to 80. And many of you might be thinking that anyway the cost is 70, so why don't you straight away reduce the selling price from 100 to 80 so that still I'll be getting a profit of 10. No, no business person would ever do that. So what they ultimately do is that they'll try to find out what is their profit percentage right now, and that we try to find where the profit percentage right now was how much. It is 30 divided by 70, so it came around 42.85%. So right now this particular company, when it is selling its product at 100 rupees, is earning a profit margin of 42.85% on cost. Okay, now they would like to maintain the same profit even after reducing the selling price, so they will never ever like to compromise on profits. So which means what happens, your new selling price is 80, that's where you need to sell because you are forced to sell, minus whatever the profit margin that you are willing to make will give you your target cost. Are you able to get me? Now the question is how to find this. Very simple. So let's say your target cost is 100%, your profit margin is 42.85% on cost. So your selling price will be 142.85%. So let's say the selling price is equivalent to 142.85%. Then your profit should be 42.85% and your cost will be 100%. So by using this, we can find out if 142.85% is 80, then how much is 42.85% and how much is 100%. Like that, you can find out your cost. Now you can ask me, why are we studying this right now? Because there is relevance to Kaizen costing. Now the question is, let's try to find out what is this target cost. Now, for the sake of this particular example, I'll try to take an imaginary number, or you can really work it out and tell me how much it is. So if 142.85% is 80, then what is 42.85, right? So like that, you can just find out that particular number and then give me that number. So I'll take some imaginary number here. Please understand, right now I don't have calculator to actually calculate this. Okay, so I'll go with some imaginary number. Let's say your target cost, say this is not actual number. Okay, let's say your target cost comes around 60. How much it comes around 60. Now, please understand this is not the actual number here. I'm just trying to take an imaginary number because all we need is to understand the concept. I don't have calci right now, so that's why I'm going with some imaginary number. Okay. Okay, chalo. Now see here. So let's say target cost is 60. Earlier the cost was 70, which means you need to reduce the cost by 10. Now the question is, how will you reduce the cost? That's where Kaizen costing comes into picture. So what is the concept of Kaizen costing? You already know right now that Kaizen costing means you are trying to reduce your cost by going for small or minimal improvements in efficiency, in process, and all those things, which will ultimately help you in achieving your target cost. Thereby, once you achieve your target cost, you'll be able to survive in the market with the same profit percentage without compromising on that, despite reduction in the selling price. So now I hope you understand the linkage between Kaizen costing as well as what target costing. Please don't think otherwise, because this particular video is not about target costing. Once I get into target costing video, there I would like to explain you clearly what target costing is, but this video is all about Kaizen costing. Okay, so because we found that there is a strong relationship or linkage between Kaizen costing and target costing, I was forced to explain you this particular concept. Are you able to get me now? Now I hope you understand what is the basic linkage between Kaizen and target, because to achieve target cost, to achieve this reduction of 10 rupees, although please make a note that this 60 rupees is not the exact calculated number here, I just took an approximation. Okay, so if you need to achieve this particular target cost, you have to reduce the cost of your manufacturing company or of your soap from 70 to 60 rupees. In that case, to achieve this, one of the techniques will be Kaizen costing. It's not just only Kaizen costing. Please understand. It's not only Kaizen costing. One of the techniques will be Kaizen costing. Are you able to get me? So you'll be applying value engineering, where you'll be finding out value added activities, non-value added activities, and then you'll try to eliminate non-value added activities. Like this, you'll be doing so many things to achieve your target cost. But among those things, one of the things that you'll be doing or you should be doing is Kaizen costing, where you'll try to do these small improvements and then you try to reduce your cost over a period of time. You got this? Right. So anyway, so let's get back to our slides now. So this is a slide that we were looking at. So as you can see, now you understand the linkage between target costing and Kaizen costing, right? Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, look at the rules for implementing Kaizen costing. How to implement Kaizen costing? Pretty simple. Rule number one, list your problems down. What are the problems that you're facing right now? Rule number two, grade the problems as to minor, difficult, as well as major. Start with the smallest minor problem. You see, that is the trick here. because Kaizen costing actually concentrates on small or minor improvements. So you better concentrate on that only, and then move on to the next graded problem, which means from minor to difficult, from difficult to major. And then remember the improvement as a part of daily routine, because every day you come with that particular concept, because that's the reason we have used that word: every time, everywhere, everyone, right? And never accept status quo, and never reject any idea before trying. Eliminate all the tried but failed experiments, and finally highlight the problems rather than hiding them. So these are all the rules for implementation of Kaizen costing, right? Okay, so let's get back to the principles of Kaizen costing. As you can see that in this particular diagram, so there is always room for improvement, and workers are confident about offering suggestions. And this is the change that you have to bring in to implement your Kaizen costing effectively. And everyone's opinion is valued and considered. Strong personal discipline and teamwork in quality circles. So these are all the 5 principles that you have to do if you want to apply your Kaizen costing in a successive way, right? And now let's go with an example. Look at this example, guys. You see, this is what, as you can see this diagram, look at this diagram carefully. Start of the production, then it goes to process 1, then it goes to process 2, then it goes to end of line 1, and from end of line 1 all the way it goes to beginning of line 2. You please concentrate on end of line 1 to beginning of line 2. You see that diagram, end of line 1 to beginning of line 2, concentrate on that, and then to process 3, then to process 4, and then packaging. Did you see this diagram? So let's say this is an example where I'm trying to explain you how Kaizen costing works and how effective Kaizen costing is. Now please look at this diagram, and you concentrate on end of line 1 to beginning of line 2. You see that from end of line 1 the product should come all the way to beginning of line 2, and then to process 3, and then to process 4. Let's say there is a setup inside a factory like this. And now you look at the solution, how the Kaizen costing works. And now you look at the second diagram. You see Kaizen example. You see what has happened? You see the red mark there, red arrow mark. From end of line 1, you see the beginning of line 2, how it has got changed. You see the previous one? Can you see the previous diagram now? Can you see the problem now? You see the end of line 1 and you see the beginning of line 2 here, and now you see the new diagram. You see how the Kaizen costing has simply offered you a solution. It was a simple fix, isn't it? I know it's not really intelligent, but that's what I'm telling you. Kaizen costing is not about intelligence or trying to solve a complex problem or stuff that this and all. No, it's all about simple improvements, minor cost savings. You see how simple it is, and you have saved the cost. This is a perfect example for Kaizen costing, right, guys? Okay, I hope you guys have understood this now. Let's move on to a question now. Have a look into this question, guys. And if at all you want to get this question as a document, uh, I want you guys to go to my just a second. Okay, right. Okay, guys, you want all the documents of the questions. Then you have to go to my Telegram channel, PK Sir Classes. Okay, go to my Telegram channel. There's an app called Telegram. Download this app. In this app, you search. You search for what? PK Sir Classes. And in this, already I've posted all the relevant documents. Whenever I post a particular video, the relevant documents for that particular video will be posted in this particular Telegram, account of mine, which is PK Sir Classes. So open up the Telegram app. If you already have one, open it up and search for PK Sir Classes. If you don't have one, then you better download this particular app and then search for PK Sir Classes. You'll find my channel, and then in that you'll find this particular document. The question which I'm going to do right now, the Kaizen costing question, you'll find the document in that particular app, that is Telegram. Okay, right. Anyway, let's get back to the question. Okay, have a look into the question, guys. This is a question from CA final study material, new syllabus. Okay, which will be really useful for CA final students. Anyway, so let's get back to the question. M India Limited, that is MIL, is an automobile manufacturer in India and a subsidiary of a Japanese automobile and motorcycle manufacturer Leon. It manufactures and sells a complete range of cars from the entry level to the hatchback to sedans and has a present market share of 22% of the Indian passenger car market. I think he's indirectly talking about Maruti because that's what I feel right now. Okay, M stands for Maruti. That's what I feel. So MIL uses a system of standard costing to set its budget, and budgets are set semi-annually by the finance department after the approval of the board of directors at MIL. And the finance department prepares variance reports each month for review in the board of directors meeting where actual performance is compared with the budgeted figures. Mr. Suzuki, group CEO of the Leon, is of the opinion that Kaizen costing method should be implemented as a system of planning and control in the MIL. So you are required to recommend key changes vital to MIL's planning and control system to support the adoption of Kaizen costing concepts. Okay, that is a question. Now I want you guys to pause the video here and then read the question minimum 3 times, and then you play the video so that you'll understand the solution better. Right? So that's the question is all about. Let's get back to the solution now. Okay guys, let's get back to the solution. I hope you guys have really paused the video and read the question multiple times. Okay, chalo, let's get to the solution. So what is this question that he's trying to ask? You have to recommend the key changes vital to MIL's planning and control system to support the adoption of Kaizen costing concepts. Okay, right. Let's try to recollect the concept of Kaizen costing that we have discussed so far. So, Kaizen costing emphasizes on small but continuous improvements. And so, let's try to see how we can apply this Kaizen costing to this particular problem. So he's asking you what are the suggestive changes that you can say you can implement in this particular company. Okay, right. Let's go with that first. Let's start with the first suggestion. So now we're gonna give all the suggestions with the help of Kaizen costing by applying Kaizen costing concept to this particular Maruti India Limited. That's what I feel MIL as. Okay, let's see. The first change that we should suggest is, as you can see in the question, there is a standard cost control system that is being followed right now in this particular company. If I want to implement Kaizen costing, then I would rather like to change the standard control system to cost reduction system. So this will be suggestion number one. This is the first change I want to make. Right now, this company is following standard cost control system, and I want to change it from standard cost control system to cost reduction system. Now you can ask me why. Why this is your first suggestion? Let's try to answer that. So let's discuss about the first point. If you look at the question, traditionally, what do you mean by standard costing system? I hope you are aware of standard costing. It means that listen to my sentence carefully. Now, what's the problem with standard costing system? See here. The problem with standard costing is that, okay, what is the problem with standard costing? It assumes stability. Standard costing system assumes stability in the manufacturing process, and the standards that are set keeping the normal manufacturing process into account, which means your whole effort is to meet the performance cost standard. What do you mean by this? Standard costing assumes stability in the manufacturing process, which means what about improvement? Nothing. There is no question of improvement. Let's say right now I'm manufacturing 80 units per hour. This is a standard that has been set in the month of Jan. Feb also it's gonna be same. March also it's gonna be same. April also it's gonna be same. May also it's gonna be same. June, July, August, whatever it is, it's gonna be the same. Same standard. So 80 units per hour, 80 units per hour, 80 units per hour. That's it. And your whole manufacturing process will concentrate on meeting this particular standard, which means, okay, I need to manufacture 80 units per hour. There ends the game. There is no question of improvement. There is no thought of improvement. There is no nothing. People will never ever think about improving. That's the major problem with standard costing. Stability. It assumes stability in the current manufacturing process, which means you are at a particular level. Let's say this is your efficiency level right now, and you stay at this particular level. There's no question of improvement. There's no question of improvement. That's the problem. So that is why when it comes to Kaizen costing, especially when you want to adopt Kaizen costing concepts, the first thing that you have to do in your company is to change from standard cost control system to what? Cost reduction system. What do you mean by that? In Kaizen costing, it believes in continuous improvements. And therefore, the goal is not just to achieve the standard or to reach the standard or to meet the standard. The goal is to achieve cost reduction target. The goal is to achieve cost reduction target, which means earlier it is cost control system, which is standard costing. Now I want cost reduction system. So earlier it means, let's say your target is to achieve 80 units per hour as per standard costing, but now maybe I would like to make it 79 or 79.5. From 79.5 I would like to make it to 79.2. Are you able to get me? Small minor changes. So maybe from the month of June my new standard will be 79.2, and then for after 3 months maybe my new standard will be 70. Sorry, I'm talking about units per hour, so I have to increase it. Sorry guys. So from 80, let's say it's gonna be 80.5. Let's say it's gonna be 80.7. Let's say it's gonna be 81. So increase in efficiency is nothing but increase in units. Okay, if it is efficiency percentage, then something like this. Okay, so it should increase actually. So let's say if it is normal standard costing, it's always 80. But when it comes to this particular Kaizen, you might want to increase it to 80.5, something like that, or 80.7, or 81, or 82, 83, something like that. Small and minor improvements. So now 81 will be your revised standard, and then you will try to achieve 81. Once that is done, after a few months, maybe 82 is your revised standard. So that's a basic difference. So that's the shift from cost control system to what? Cost reduction system. Are you able to get me? More units you are manufacturing per hour, which means earlier you are manufacturing 80 units, now you are manufacturing 81 units. It means obviously your cost is going to get reduced. There's no doubt in that, isn't it? No doubt whatsoever. Isn't it, guys? I hope you guys have got this, right? Okay, chalo. Let's move on to point number 2. So what is the second point? The second point is reduction in the periodicity of setting standards. What do you mean by this? This will be your second suggestion of adopting Kaizen costing. Reduction in the periodicity of setting standards. What do you mean by that? If you look at the question, under the existing planning and control system followed by this Maruti India Limited, standards are set semi-annually. I hope you have read the question, then you are really clear. So the standards are set what? Semi-annually, which means 6 months, right? And based on these standards, which are set semi-annually, monthly variance reports are generated for analysis. That's what the question says. But under Kaizen costing system, cost reduction targets are set for smaller periods. Say, for example, a week. Say, for example, let's say fortnight, 15 days. Or say, for example, a month. Are you able to get me? So the period covered under standard should be reduced from semi-annual to either month or a week or a fortnight, and getting variance reports may be continued, but it should be reduced to what? A lower period, right? That should be your second adoption when it comes to what? Kaizen costing. And final adoption, which is the last one, participation of executives or workers in standard setting process. So this will be your third session of adopting Kaizen costing. So under the Kaizen costing system, participation of workers or executives who are really or actually involved in the manufacturing process are highly appreciated, and it is a need of the hour while setting standards. So that the current system of setting budgets and standards by the finance department with a mere consent of the board of directors required is to be changed. If you look at the question right now, the existing situation in Maruti India Limited or MIL is that the budgets are being set by the finance department with the consent of the board of directors, but that has to get changed. You have to involve your executives or the workers who are actually involved in the manufacturing process. They have to participate in setting the standards or the budgets, whatever. This is your third session. That really helps, right? Because that really helps in setting the budgets or standards which is achievable, which is far more to reality. It really helps. Are you able to get me? So these are all the three suggestions that you would like to make if at all you're trying to adopt what? Kaizen costing. Right, guys? So I hope this particular concept is clear right now. So we have tried to understand what is Kaizen costing, as well as we have tried to solve a particular example. So I hope you have really enjoyed this particular video. If you really enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more videos, because hereafter I'll be quite frequently uploading videos. And please do comment, because that really gives me a lot of energy, and I would like to make more and more videos by putting in more efforts, right? Thank you guys, and all the best.